Going on, y'all? Welcome back to the show. I know it's been a week at this point, but you gotta take a break at some point. Today we're going to be going over the W463 Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon. So that's going to be the first generation, even though the first generation went for like 40 years almost. But we're just going to be going over the tail end of that generation with the G63 specifically. We're not going to be doing the non-AMG ones today, just the G63. Going from 2013 to 2018, those model years. As you can see, this one is, I believe, a 2018 or 2017. Has a special package. We'll go over all the packages and options and everything you need to know when you're looking for one of these, as well as my opinions on these, because I do have a few. If you're new here, what we do is we first go over some videos, just give you a feel of the vehicle, and then I go over the features, options, and problems with the vehicle, and then finally we go over some ads. I believe at the end of the show today, we're going to also go over some auction results so we can actually see how much these things are trading for, because of course ad prices and actual sale prices are going to be different. But as you can see, G63 AMG. Something about this vehicle is that it's such an old vehicle that these new ones, not the second generation, but the newest version of the first generation, they're still built on the old platform. So you just have a bunch of modern interior and some exterior upgrades still built on the old platform, which can lead to some issues. We'll go over that in a second. But what is the G63? Well, it used to be, the G-Wagon specifically, used to be a military vehicle designed by Mercedes way back in the 70s. And it was intended to be as such. So people often complain about the ride quality on this, also how small it is on the interior, because it was designed in a different time before people got so big. But another thing about this vehicle is that it is one of the most desirable SUVs on the road, and if you haven't driven one, you wouldn't assume that this was actually a fundamentally bad vehicle. However, if you've been in them, if you've driven them, you come to soon realize that these aren't all they're cracked up to be, which is pretty interesting. It's more about the status, the look. I think the look is the best part about this vehicle. It's imposing. If you see one driving behind you, it looks like you better move out of the way, basically. But again, that's all perception. If you drive one of these, you'll be like, wow, this is cool. It's quirky. It's an interesting vehicle, but the price tag on these are insane. We'll go over the prices at the end of the show. But yeah, these can run anywhere from 60 to 120 grand for a first generation G63, which is pretty insane. Just wait for some people to roll in the chat. Has been a while since I streamed, so you guys can take your time rolling in. Anyway, we can see here, fifth wheel mounted on the outside. Very utilitarian vehicle in terms of not only its features, but also the way it rides. Doors are classic G-Wagon doors. You have to slam them to shut them because of how heavy they are, and just the locking mechanism is so old. Again, these cars are just status symbols at the end of the day. They're pretty good off-road in terms of their capabilities, but driving them on-road, especially on highways and such, is just not a very pleasant experience. It's more pleasant to look at these driving by than to drive them. I won't say they're the worst driving cars in the world. They just drive like a truck. Just imagine a Jeep. Jeeps drive pretty bad as well. So just imagine just a luxury Jeep. That's how I think of these vehicles. We'll go over some problems, but in order to foreshadow for that, there's a ton of quality issues with this vehicle in terms of the trim pieces and everything in the interior, and it really just makes for a not that great driving experience. I'm gonna stop hating on this car because I really like this car in terms of what it stands for in the car world. The looks, the essence of a G-Wagon is just something that's unmatched, but we'll get into all that in a second. You guys get the idea for that. Let me pause this music. Let's watch a dyno video. Here we have a first generation G-Wagon on the dyno, just so you guys can hear the sound. Hey, what's going on, Farhat? Where are you from, man? You from Turkey? I'm just assuming by your name. Let me know where you guys are from and what you drive. As you can hear, this thing sounds mean. Has quad pipes, 2 on each side. And this one, I'm not sure if it has a tune or not. We're about to find out how much power it's making to the wheels. 540 horsepower to the wheels, so yeah, a little bit of a tune there. They do make around that to the crank factory. And let's see, the torque for this one is up high too, almost 600 pound-feet of torque for this. Just pretty good numbers, especially considering that this vehicle, I mean, it's heavy, but it's not that big. Cool. All right, we got a POV so you guys can get a feel of what it's like to drive. Fair use, by the way. Everyone likes to copyright my videos, even though I put the video links in the description. So fair use, fair use. Let me pause this. Fair use, fair use. Don't copyright my videos, y'all. You're gonna capitalize off of my 3 cents I make per video. Like, you guys are lame for that. Anyway, we can see this. This looks like Russia. Very popular car in Eastern Europe and Russia. I remember when I was in Turkey, I would see a ton of these from Russia. Just cruising around Turkey. But as you can see, the driving experience, very upright driving experience. Get to sit really high. You can see these windows, they're all flat. All the windows in this vehicle are flat, which makes for a very interesting, I guess, driving experience. I don't know how else to say it, but the weird thing about having flat windows on both sides of the vehicle is that they reflect off of each other. So you get really bad reflections in this. It's interesting also, the windows side by side are interchangeable. That's how flat they are. You can put this window on the right side, on the left side, and they are exactly the same part. And the logos are literally reversed on both sides because they are the same part. But I don't know if you guys can hear. It's just a bunch of creaking and rattling with this car. And that's not a problem with the vehicle. That's just how it is. Not the best build quality, even though it does last, kind of. We'll get into all that in a second. It lasts. It stands the test of time. However, they're pretty rough when they get up to high mileage. You'll find that on a lot of these, they will start to go bad in terms of having a multitude of problems around 40,000 miles, which is pretty crazy in my opinion. But when you think about just any high-strung German vehicle, that's kind of what happens. Usually people will fix them and then they'll keep on going for another 40-50,000 miles and then you fix it again. However, with these, people just are scared of high-mile Mercedes G-Wagons, even though 50,000 miles isn't high mileage in my opinion. But you'll find that once cars get above 40 to 50,000 miles, the prices drop significantly. And that's because, I don't know, it could be a multitude of reasons, but mostly because people buy these new, and the people that buy these want the newest and best thing, so they're not going to drive them for that long, and they're not going to fix the cars. And once they're out of warranty, they are pretty expensive to fix. Shout out to the 5 people in the chat. What is going on? Say what's up if you're new here. But yeah, this G-Wagon here is in its natural Russian habitat. Very popular over there. Yeah, I was looking at the prices. AMG 63 series vehicles forever. Yep, exactly. I love AMG 63 vehicles. Some of the last vehicles to really have some true soul to them. Not really anymore with the 4-cylinder C63. We'll see if they bring back the V8. I doubt it, but we'll see. It's so crazy. I mean, just as a side note, so many vehicles or so many car companies in the past 3 or 4 years were starting to switch to EVs until people stop buying them. No one wants an EV car in this day and age. And that was just because of the high prices they were selling for. But now you'll find a lot of EVs are actually trading for very cheap prices compared to what they were 2 years ago. And they're starting to become more of a viable option for just getting around town. I know I've seen a lot of Tesla Model S's going for in the low teens, which is insane. But yeah, that also goes to show the people that buy those, they just They get rid of them as soon as the new thing comes out. It's like an appliance to them. It's not a car. People used to buy cars and keep them forever. Nowadays, that's not really a thing. 4E 4.2 said, I mean, the G63 is nice, but get the G65 instead because if it's one of the only SUVs with a V12. Yeah, the G65 is insanely expensive. Considering the G63 is super expensive already, the G65 is just out of this world. But yeah, if you want to get a G65, man, you're going to be the most baller person on the street because no one has those. They're super rare. But you guys get the idea of this. I got one more video. Got some fair use, by the way. We got some G-Wagons in Monaco. Shout out to the F1 Grand Prix in Monaco. Oh, damn. You can hear those turbos of the M157 engine. The M157 engine gets a lot of hate. I'm not sure why. People say it's unreliable, but really the only problems with those are going to be regular engine problems and maybe a little bit more than regular turbo problems. I think people are just comparing it to like the G55 and the G550 with the, well, the G550 actually got the 4.0 at some point, but in terms of the naturally aspirated G550, this guy is mobbing through Monaco. Surprised that thing isn't tipping over. Yeah, you can hear those turbos. Definitely has some downpipes on there. It's funny, everyone who owns one of these, they always talk about the worst part about it is the stigma they get from other people. Everyone stares at them crazy. Everyone thinks they're like some asshole or something. It's really funny. It's like that is such a first world problem to have. But I mean, that's on top of it being just a really bad driving experience, comparatively speaking to whatever else you can get for the price. It's not the worst driving car in the world. I mean, as I said before, it's just like a Jeep. Jeeps suck, but everyone loves them. Same thing with the G-Wagon. Yeah, this guy is just whipping through Monaco. Yeah, as I was saying, the M157 is probably one of my favorite. M157/278, they're kind of the same thing. The 5.5 liter versions of the twin turbo engine that Mercedes makes. Twin turbo V8. Some of my favorite. It combines the displacement of the 6.2 with the, I guess, technological aspects of a 4.0 with the twin turbo-ness of it, for lack of better terms. So you actually have a lot of potential in terms of tuning with the 5.5. And it does also have a better sound, in my opinion, than the 4.0. More guttural, more throaty. More closer to the... Wow, almost an accident there. But yeah, if you drive like this in your G-Wagon, you're definitely going to be stared at. But this guy looks like he loves that type of attention. Look at him. He's probably wasting all his gas doing that. Anyway, let's get into the show. Let me bring up, sorry, y'all, let me get this all situated. All right, cool. What is going on, y'all? Onward Cars back again with another car buyer's guide. Today, as you can see, we're going to be going over the G63. As I was mentioning before, the G63 went from 2013 to 2018 in the American market. 2019 is when the W464 came out, and that's the G-Wagon that everyone loves. This is the G-Wagon that, in comparison, everyone hates, even though this was the thing to have for years, literally decades. As you can see, this is the old body style, solid axles front and rear, and that, you know, very rudimentary in terms of its technology, but that kind of gives it some sort of charm, if you want to call it that. I don't know if you would call it charm because it's really not the best driving experience, but it is very quirky. And you know, with the new G-Wagon that's out right now, these prices have dropped a little bit, but not really. So if you want one of these, you can definitely drive one for very low cost in terms of getting in at a good level, then selling it and being able to capitalize on just, you know, someone wanting to buy it for a higher price than you bought it for, and basically drive these things for free. It happens all the time. These don't depreciate much at all, which makes them a really good option to buy if you're looking for something that holds value. However, you really need a lot of money in order to get into one of these. But before we get into all that, in terms of the features, options, and problems in the ads, let's do some quick announcements. you haven't already, join my Discord. This is where, let me pull it over here. This is where I post all the updates for the channel, as well as, you know, a place where people can talk about cars. We got places where people can show their cars, talk about, you know, different things they're doing with their cars, different builds. We also have a lowballing section here. So if you want to buy a car and you want, basically you want the buyer to think that everyone is lowballing them, we will lowball them collectively as a group. So put the link in here and we'll all lowball them, and then basically your offer will be the best one in terms of, you know, comparison. But as I mentioned before, join my Discord. I do a giveaway, $50. Last week I was supposed to do the giveaway, but I ended up having 2 winners in terms of I couldn't differentiate between this king and this other king. And so basically what happened was I asked, you know, I said the winner is king. Whoever responds first gets the prize, and no king responded. So the prize carries on. I didn't do it. We're not going to do a drawing today because I didn't have it loaded up. Apologies. We're going to do it tomorrow. So if you want to win, all you got to do is join the Discord. All you got to do is hit a like on any video on the channel, subscribe to the channel as well, leave a comment on any video, as well as sharing a video with somebody, or you can share one of my reels. I post reels on my Instagram. The link is in the description for that as well. Hey, shout out to Trini Man in the chat. What is going on, man? Trini Man always showing support. What do you think about the G63, the first gen Trini Man? Would you ever get one? I don't know if I would, man. I think they're, you know, they hold value very well, but we'll go over all that in a second. So let's get on to the features, options, and problems with the G63 AMG. As I mentioned before, 2013 to 2018 was the model years for this vehicle. It uses the 5.5 liter M157 twin turbo V8. And in terms of the power, from 2013 to 2015, it made 536 horsepower, 560 pound-feet of torque. And from 2016 to 2018, it made 563 horsepower and 561 pound-feet of torque. It uses the 7-speed AMG Speed Shift MCT transmission, which is not an automatic. It's not a dual clutch. It's basically an automatic transmission without a torque converter. Instead of a torque converter, it uses a wet multi-plate clutch setup, if you want to call it that. Basically, instead of a torque converter, as I mentioned, it has a wet multi-plate clutch. How do I say this? I want to call it a torque converter, but basically that's the connection between the engine and the transmission. It's hard to describe. They're the only really company that uses this type of transmission, and they're pretty good. They have characteristics of a 7-speed in terms, of a dual clutch in terms of them not rolling straight off the line, if you know what I mean. You have to give it some gas in order for the clutches to engage. So it kind of rides like a dual clutch. It shifts really fast, shifts faster than automatic. Not really as fast as a dual clutch, but it's pretty much on par. Comes with 20-inch AMG wheels, solid front and rear axles, 2-speed transfer case along with diff lockers front, center, and rear. So this car is very capable off-road. As I mentioned before, this used to be a military vehicle, so it was designed as such, and they're very capable off-road. The thing is, no one drives these off-road. If you want to drive one off-road, a lot of people will buy an older one simply because they don't want to spend that much money to build an overlander, basically. And it uses recirculating ball steering, which contributes to the lack of steering feel and just the overall bad driving experience. Hey, shout out to you, Colby. Yeah, man. I mean, I am on episode, what is this, 123 or something? So we're going to keep on rolling with this train. Yeah, we build it as we fly it. Always doing different buyer's guides. I love cars, so I'm going to keep on doing that. No matter how many views these gets, I like doing them. But yeah, recirculating ball steering, horrible old steering technology. If you're not familiar, actually, let me bring it up real quick. Let me just show you what recirculating ball steering looks like. It's literally like a stream of ball bearings that gets pushed around a worm gear. It's pretty interesting. So this is what it looks like. And yeah, that's usually a common steering system for solid axles in terms of the front axle, because rack and pinions don't work that well with a solid front axle. Anyway, it's not that great in terms of steering feel. You have a lot of dead spot in the center, but yeah, that is recirculating ball steering. First model years, 2013, 2014. I generally avoid getting these ones simply because these ones have the most problems statistically. However, they didn't really make, well, I'd say 2015 or 2016 is when most of the changes happened, but 2015s were also good examples as well, because they did improve the transmission tuning in 2015, but 2016 is when they got the power bump. And the 2017 to 2018 are obviously going to be the last and best model years for the G63. If you want to get one and you have the money, I highly suggest getting a 2017, 2018. Those are the ones that everyone wants. No one wants the 2013, 2014s, and they're still very expensive. So if you're going to spend this much money, just get a 2015 and up. And if you have all the money to spend, get a 2017 and up. Cool. In terms of problems, you know, there are not too many problems on the vehicle per se. However, it's not the best overall build. So you'll have problems with the quality. You'll see these hood lights on the top. A lot of people will see these and they'll be yellow and they'll think, you know, the car is in bad shape, but it's really not true. These just go yellow naturally, and you can change these for like $200 or $300 to get new clear lights, as you can see on this one. Headliner sags on older vehicles, not really a huge problem. However, it is expensive to fix a headliner. Just remember that. Sunroof also can fail in terms of the movement. So the motors, the rails it slides on, the movement itself can go bad. Also, the seals can go bad on the sunroof. A big thing you don't want to have on these are leaks. Again, it is an old vehicle where they just kind of tacked on a lot of things as the years went on, and that also includes different control modules for the car. They're located all over the car, and they're not really that well integrated into the vehicle. So if you have leaks, they can get on the control modules very easily, and you have a whole slew of electrical issues. Door lock actuators can fail on these. Again, this is a very old school system in terms of the locks. You can hear the locks when you unlock the car. It's loud. It's a very old system for locks. They can break. General rattles from the interior panels is a big issue with these cars. If you saw in the video we just watched, just going over bumps and stuff, the door panels, the switch gear, the center console, everything rattles on this car because, again, everything was tacked on as the years went on. It wasn't really made to have all this stuff inside of it. It has flat glass. As you can see, the side glass is flat. Not only that, but the windshield is flat. When you have a curved windshield, when things hit them, they can bounce off in any direction. However, if you have a flat surface, usually it just leads to just a straight impact, and that will crack your windshield. Everyone who owns these have gone through multiple windshields because they crack so often. And as I mentioned, the water leaks can cause electrical failures, and then the suspension will usually go bad around 40 to 50,000 miles. As I mentioned earlier, these cars usually, once you hit 40 or 50,000 miles, the prices kind of drop. The demand for them really drops. I don't know why that is. I mean, I know why that's the case, but you know, when you consider it with every other German vehicle that's high strung, that's usually the case with all of them. But for some reason, the G-Wagons, people hate G-Wagons over 50,000 miles. They're like, I don't want to touch that. But again, this is a G-Wagon, man. It's not going to be the best in terms of like aesthetic quality. However, the mechanical nature of it is meant to last. Everything is overbuilt in terms of the chassis. The suspension can go bad, but you know, you just replace the suspension. That's how it is with all cars. A lot of people are just scared of these higher mile ones. Because of the M157, we'll get into that right now. So the M157, you have some issues with this. Not only do you have your regular issues, I'm talking oil pan gasket leaks, head gasket leaks, oil filter housing gasket leaks, valve cover leaks, but you also have issues with the cam solenoids. If they leak, they can affect a lot of things, but most importantly, they will cause your timing chain to not be lubricated, or not cam solenoids. If they're not functioning because of the leak, they can cause the timing chain to either break or stretch. And if your timing chain is bad on one of these, that's going to be a very expensive repair. That's kind of the big issue with these cars, is that the price tag being at around 150 grand brand new made the repairs have a high tax on them, even though the parts, you know, are regular AMG parts in terms of prices. I'm not saying those are cheap parts, but they're not the most expensive parts when compared to like exotic cars and whatnot, or other cars that cost this much in terms of price. But yeah, there's just a G-Wagon tax. You're gonna have to pay a lot of money to get things fixed. The biggest issue with these, and I guess, you know, why people hate the M157 so much, is a turbo failure. You'll have turbo leaks. But basically, the turbos can fail. That's like $2,000 a pop, and that's just for the part itself. In order to get it fixed, you're probably looking at 5-6 grand to get your turbos redone, which is pretty insane, because if you get this car at 40,000 miles, you really don't expect that to happen. However, it does happen. So keep that in mind, especially with the earlier models. So that's why I suggest staying away from the 2013s, 2014s in general. And then motor mounts and transmission mounts as well. These engines, you know, they're pretty torquey. And just as you can see by the way people drive these cars, they drive them hard. And yeah, the motor mounts, transmission mounts, all that just adds up in terms of repair costs. And you really don't want to be running into that. So just keep that in mind. If you're buying one of these, definitely get a PP PPI. Sorry. Anyway, PPI. Definitely want to get a PPI. I don't know why you wouldn't if you're spending this much money. We'll get into how much these cost in a second, but these are super expensive, especially for what they are, to be honest. And then transmission issues. This uses, again, the 7-speed AMG speed shift MCT transmission. That's specifically for the AMG models. The regular ones, in terms of the G550, uses the 7G Tronic, so the 7-speed AMG speed shift is a little bit different, but you still have the same type of issues. Low fluid could cause slippage, and you can also get stuck in gears such as neutral. I've seen some issues with these vehicles when you're at a stop sign or stop light and you have the engine shut off activated. It can actually not start back up, and then now you're stuck in neutral and you have to restart the car. That happens sometimes. But yeah, if you have transmission issues, it could be low fluid, it could be your valve body, it could be your conductor plate. I believe it's a 722.9 transmission this car has. Definitely has issues with both of those things, the valve body and the conductor plate. And yeah, the conductor plate basically can disintegrate. Now your car doesn't know when to engage the gears, and so it'll cause slippage. And yeah, so if you're running into any issues, rough shifting, gears slipping, or it's stuck in certain gears, definitely want to stay away from that car. In terms of other things, I mentioned the suspension, but just in general, bushings and stuff on this car will go bad around 40-50,000 miles. That's kind of why everyone wants to stay underneath those. However, I'd say if you can find one with high miles that has everything already fixed, that's also going to be a good deal, and you'll save some money there. You just have a little bit more of a rattly vehicle, and these are already pretty rattly to begin with. So just keep that in mind. In terms of options, let's actually go over the brochures because I'm just tired of reading off this thing. Let's see where the brochure is at. So we have our first brochure. This is going to be the 2013. As you can see, the interior is actually changed around 2017, but not much. They just have a different wheel, and these buttons, as you can see, they're pretty rounded. In this example, this is 2013. They become flat. That's basically it. There's not too much that changed with this vehicle for the 2013 and 2018 model year. In fact, there wasn't much that changed completely for the entire from the 70s to this in terms of the actual vehicle itself. However, they did upgrade the interior from time to time, and this interior was introduced in 2013. So you're always going to have this new style of interior, even though this interior is super old compared to the rest of the Mercedes lineup. But as you can see, screen tacked on here looks super ugly. Yeah, I'd say the best view of a G-Wagon is definitely on the outside. The interior is not really a good place to be. It's kind of cramped, and the technology is just super, super old. In terms of options, though, let me just bring this over here. In terms of options, individual options, you have actually, let's go over the colors first. So we can see here, these are going to be your G63 colors. So G63s automatically come with the Dezino premium leather. The G550s come with premium leather, but G63 AMGs come with Dezino premium as standard. These are all the colors you can get. You can get auburn brown, classic red, light brown, mystic red, porcelain sand, and Titan gray pearl for the first model year. And then Dezino exclusive leather packages are just going to be these some of the same colors, not as many colors obviously, but it's going to have diamond stitching not only on the seats but on the door panels as well. You can see on the regular non-exclusive package cars it has kind of this ruffled leather on the doors, and on the exclusive it has diamond stitching to match the seats. In terms of the interior trim, you have your choice of a bunch of different trims: burl walnut, piano black, champagne white, Dezino satin, light brown, poplar wood, and carbon fiber. Of course, carbon fiber for an AMG is going to be the one to get, or piano black. You can't get the woods though. The woods don't look too bad. However, they do look a little bit more standard, if I were to say so myself. I wouldn't really want to get a wood interior G-Wagon, simply because if I'm getting an AMG, I want black or carbon fiber, but it's up to you. In terms of colors, you got a whole bunch of colors that increase every year. So many colors available for this car. Again, this was a car made for celebrities, for athletes, and they wanted all the customization you can get, even though there wasn't too many, but they did offer a lot of colors. In terms of individual options, let's go look at a 2014. You can see that 2013, 2014 pretty much stays the same. Interior wise, you can see this is what the carbon fiber trim looks like. This one has the red Dezino exclusive. As you can see from the previous example, 2013, they didn't offer red Dezino exclusive, but they did in 2014. This is what the regular Dezino looks like. I highly would suggest, if you were going to get one of these cars, to find one with the Dezino exclusive package. It would just make it sell a whole lot easier. Even though these do trade hands a lot, everyone wants to get into a G-Wagon, but then once you get a G-Wagon, you have it for 2 or 3 months, you're like, wow, I paid a lot for this hunk of junk, and then you want to get rid of it. I'm not calling it junk. It's just not, it's not worth the price, y'all. I'm going to be honest. It's really just for bragging rights. As you can see, they introduced the red, as I mentioned before, but same interior package, same interior colors. And these are going to be your 2 wheel options for most of the model years. You have your 20-inch AMG twin 5-spoke. So basically this wheel has hollow spokes. Then you have your 20-inch AMG 5-spoke. Same wheel, just the spokes are solid instead of hollow in terms of the gap in between. And these ones come in black. So the silver ones are going to have holes. The black ones are not. Colors, again, same wood trims here. Moving on to our 2015, we can see everything pretty much stays the same. It's not really too much going on with these, to be honest. Again, it's a G-Wagon. They're known for not changing over the years. But with the 2015, you can see they introduced the AMG Performance, or did they have it for this one? Let me see real quick. They introduced the AMG Performance Studio for the 2015 model year, and what that means is you get a whole bunch of Skittles colors, black roof, paint match wheel holder, and you also have color match stitching on the interior. Same wheel options though. In terms of the interior, you do have a little bit more in terms of the colors for the regular Dezino Napa, but for the exclusive, you have the same options. And as you can see here, this is what the different trims look like. Burl walnut, black piano or piano black, champagne white looks like this, satin, light brown, and the carbon fiber, of course. Colors, even more colors than the 13 and 14 model year. This is why I say get a 15 and up, because they do have a little bit more options. They also made some improvements to the transmission as well to make it a little bit more more intellectual in the way it shifts. Let's see, what else can we see here. In terms of individual options, I haven't been reading them, but we'll just go over them real quick. We already went through colors, wheels, trims. You have the heated steering wheel in black Napa leather that was available in 2014 for this model year. And then in 2015, they introduced the rear seat entertainment system, so the TVs. Not really the biggest option. People don't really care about that, to be honest. All season floor mats was also an option for 2015, as well as the Dezino Magno paint. So Magno, if you're not familiar, means satin or matte. It's more of a satin. It's not completely matte. It has a little bit of a wetness to it, but yeah, it is flat paint, and that is a super desirable option. A lot of people love the Magno colors. So yeah, that's what Magno means if you ever see a vehicle having Magno paint. You also have the AMG front seats, which were introduced in 2016. So the front sport seats in AMG-ness, or AMG guys, I want to say. Let's see. Trying to find the difference between these two. So you see the G63 was introduced in 2016. We're not going over the G63 today, but that is something that, you know, will go down in history as one of the craziest SUVs because it does have a V12, one of the first SUVs to feature a V12, and it also has 21-inch wheels. But the G63s only come with 20s. What else can I say? Yeah, the AMG seats. Where is that at? This is 2016, right? Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, packages, we'll just read off what the packages are. You have the Dezino exclusive leather package, which comes with diamond stitch AMG sport front seats, diamond stitch door inserts, upholstering to the upper and lower dash in black Dezino leather. So the dash is also in leather. The AMG front sport seats do come with the exclusive leather package, but they don't come with the regular package. As you can see this here, these are what the AMG seats look like. They have a little bit of more shoulder bolstering when compared to the standard Dezino seats. In 2016, the seats were available without the Napa leather, or the exclusive Napa leather. So you could get the sport seats without the diamond stitching if you wanted. That's a 2016 option. In 2017, this is when it gets good though. This is when they start to introduce a lot more packages. You have the Dynamica interior package. So you're going to have an Alcantara interior. So the middles are going to be an Alcantara. You can get that with the Dezino exclusive in terms of having the diamond stitching. That's for 2017. It comes with the black Dynamica micro suede, but upholstery with diamond quote seats and door inserts, Dezino black Napa leather on seats and bolsters / dash, and AMG carbon fiber trim. That's going to be your Dynamica interior package. Then you have your night package. It also came out in 2017. This comes with obsidian black side mirrors, fender flares, roof, rear bumpers, spare tire surround, and outer protector strips in black. This is similar to the AMG Performance Studio, except the AMG Performance Studio does come in those crazy colors I mentioned before. The Night package just comes in standard color, but you do have the black mirrors, black fender flares, as well as the black wheels. Well, for the night package, you do have your choice of wheels, but most people are going to get them in black. And then, as you can see here, only one cup holder in the front, 2 in the back standard. Some people add a cup holder here. You can see it on some models. It's like screwed into the side here. But again, this car was designed before cup holders were a thing. So keep that in mind, not the most practical vehicle. And then finally, let's move on to our last brochure. This is going to be the 2018. And as you can see, everything looks pretty much the same, except actually, let me just show you in 2017 is when they improved the center console. You can see the buttons became flat. They're not rounded anymore. And the wheel changed as well. Let's see if I can find the wheel, picture of the wheel here. Yep, that's the old wheel. Actually, in 2018, I mean, that's the old wheel as well, but it looks a little bit different. Let me just find a better picture. The thing is with brochures, they, you know, with American mod years, everything's a year later, and you never know when this brochure was produced. It could have been produced mid-model year, early model year, and so some of the options change, you know, based on the time of the year. But as you can see, this is what the new wheel looks like. It has silver instead of black. So that's the new wheel, and it also has the grips. But again, not too much in terms of changes. You can see a lot of different colors were available for the last model year. You have the Xeno paintwork. You also have the Xeno manufacturer paintwork, which is more custom Xeno colors, I guess. Not really sure the difference in quality or whatever between the Xeno and the Xeno manufacturer, but you do have some other options. I do like these greens, like the Agate green and this jade green, of course. I think the best G-Wagon color combos are going to be green on brown, but of course that's my opinion. You can also see here tons of different upholstery options for the last 2 model years of the G-Wagon, or the first generation G-Wagon. As you can see, tons of different upholstery options. So that's why I say to get the last 2 model years. However, you're going to be paying a premium, obviously. Did I miss anything? That's pretty much it. In terms of individual options, you also have for 2017 the AMG Performance Steering Wheel. That's what I was mentioning before. You also have the red seatbelt option. Grab handles in black leather instead of the plastic. So you can see this one is in leather with carbon fiber trim on it because it is a carbon fiber car. And then the rear spare tire surround painted in body color in 2018. So as you can see here, that's why they use the swatches or they use the back wheel cover swatch instead of just showing you paint color, because they wanted to emphasize that this is what it is for 2018. They did paint the rear wheel cover. Cool. I think that's pretty much it. Did I miss anything here? I guess the Xeno manufacturer Mojave package is a thing as well, but you know, it's not really, it's more of a very specific color package. You have the Xeno Olive Magno paint with the Xeno Saddle Brown 2-tone interior, leather anthracite wood trim or AMG carbon fiber trim, 2-tone steering wheel in black and saddle, and then you have your Xeno Dynamica headliner with your choice of AMG wheels. Hey, shout out to everyone in the chat. What is going on, Clean Whips? Colby will get one too. Clean Whip said, I know Trinity Man's gonna be watching with the AMG show. Yeah, Trinity Man loves these things, but you know, man, I'd always recommend just getting the newer one, but who am I to say that? The newer one is super expensive still. It was crazy how the W464s were going for 200,000 or 100,000 over sticker at one point, almost 300 grand. Insane. These cars just trade for crazy money. Again, status symbol. This car just screams wealth. So if you're into that, highly suggest getting one of these, because or highly suggest getting an older one, to be honest. If you're gonna want one of these, they're just gonna be a lot more easier to deal with. Cool. All right, let's move on to everyone's favorite part of the show, the ads. Let's get these ads up here. Oh wow, these are not loaded. Give me a second. Actually, we'll just I'm just going to pull this up real quick. I'm just going to reset all these ads off screen real quick, because I don't want to just pull up an ad and it's just showing the interior. Perfect. All right. So moving on to our first example. We have a 2013 for 52 grand 94,000 miles. So this is an example of a car that, you know, I could possibly be interested in because it has such high miles. You would assume that everything has been fixed. It looks pretty clean as well. You can see it has the bush bar. A lot of people remove this bush bar and just put the bush bar delete kit on there to make the car look a little bit more modern. But I do kind of like the bush bar. I'm part of the small percentage that likes them. But as you can see, it's on the twin spoke wheels. Black example here. Looks really good. This looks exactly how, you know, G-Wagon should. You can see when you do the bumper upgrades like this, you can always tell it's upgraded because there's going to be a huge gap here. So this is not a stock front lower clip. And yeah, this gap kind of annoys me. You see it a lot. Interior has the walnut trim, it looks like. Non-Dezino exclusive, but of course it is a G63, so it has the Dezino interior, black interior, but not the exclusive. See the ruffled leather doors. Again, this is a G-Wagon. There's not really too much to talk about in terms of options, but it is what it is. First model year, black and wood interior, black exterior. See the rear. Yeah, I mean, these cars, as I mentioned before, they pretty much all come the same in terms of options. There's not too many options to talk about. Let's see, actually, let me put this over here real quick. But yeah, scrolling through, I mean, it looks all right. It looks decent. It has really high miles. Again, these hold up pretty well in terms of their aesthetic, the look. It's just the mechanical things have to be fixed around 40 to 50,000 miles. That's pretty much mandatory, and that's why people stay away from the high mile ones. But if you can find one with high miles that has been actually properly sorted, I wouldn't say not to get it. Just keep in mind that resale is going to be very difficult because of all the other vehicles on the market you're competing with, all the other low mile ones. And plus, they're still kind of expensive for having this many miles. 52,000. They're asking 94,000 miles. How long has it been on sale? It's been for sale for 124 days. Price already went down by 13 grand. Yeah, this car is not moving. High mile ones, as I mentioned, don't move. People are scared of them for some reason. For me, though, I'd say if I were to make an offer on this, I'd probably be around the $44,000 mark. I try to get it in the mid 40s if it has this high miles. And again, that was only if everything is taken care of. But with these types of vehicles, like, things can go wrong at any point, and you just have to have some money on the side. 45, 44, or 44 grand is where I'd be at for this one, especially because it's been for sale for what, 120 days. That's 4 months. Yeah, they're trying to move this at this point. 45 grand. Cool. Moving on to our next example. So this one is interesting. You'll see a lot of them with these Brabus kits, but you really don't know if they're a true Brabus car. The only way to tell, obviously, is looking at the engine and seeing the tune, seeing if it's actually been worked on under the engine. But it has a Brabus exterior kit, so that, you know, it looks all right. You can tell, again, this panel gap in the front with this lower clip. Nothing really looks like it fits in the front, which kind of bugs me, but it is what it is. Brabus kit, people will like it. It looks good. Looks exclusive. They say it's a Brabus, but not really too sure. I mean, it has a interesting looking interior. It's a Dezino interior, but it's not white on black. It's like almost like a champagne color, almost like a golden gray. So maybe an actual Brabus car, but again, I'm not too sure. 2013, they're asking 58.3 for this car, and it has 92,000 miles. Again, another high mile example. Most of these early model years you'll find are going to be a little bit higher models or higher miles simply because they've been around longer. I wouldn't completely stay away from it, but I also would, you know, be very cautious when you're buying a high mile G-Wagon, especially one with a Brabus kit. It might have lived a hard life, to be honest. But again, not really too much to see in this vehicle. Again, most G-Wagons are going to be pretty much the same. This one does have a Brabus kit, though. It looks like it has the interior as well, so maybe a true Brabus car, which, you know, of course, is going to command a premium. But 92,000 miles for 50, almost 59 grand. I'd say for this being a quote-unquote Brabus car, we'll just assume it is. I'd be willing to go up to around $49,000 for this first model year G63. Cool. 49 grand, just simply because it has a Brabus kit. It's pretty exclusive, even though I'm really not a fan of the fitment, but it is what it is. People go crazy when they see this B. Moving on to our next one, 2013. Again, this one is going to only have 72,000 miles compared to the last examples, and they still want in the 50s, which is not that bad. 20,000 miles less, still under 60 grand. But as I mentioned before, these cars are stupid expensive. When you think of what you can get for 60 grand, it's pretty insane, especially for the experience you're going to get in terms of actually driving it. It's nice to look at. Driving it, though, is another story. We can see it has the bush bar, yellow lights. You can always change out the lights. You can always get a bush bar delete. But in silver, it always looks good. I think this car is looks really good in black and it looks really good in silver. Interior, we have a black interior with the piano black trim. Regular Dezino. Nothing fancy in terms of the interior spec. See the lockers right here. But again, it's a G-Wagon. They all have that stuff. Harman Kardon system. Some people say it's an option, even though I haven't really seen any vehicles without the Harman Kardon system. I believe that's standard. See Alcantara headliner here. It's not sagging or anything. That's really good, especially for having a good amount of miles. 72,000 miles, pretty high for a G63. And then you can see the engine. It says that M157 everyone doesn't like for some reason, but again, I do love the 5.5 liter twin turbo AMG motors, specifically the M278. Merc B said, there is a claimed W212 Brabus E63 700 for sale on Auto Trader with under 40K. I'm skeptical. Yeah, I'm always skeptical with the Brabus cars, the Brabus listed cars, because you never know. Because Brabus does actually offer just the body kit. You really have to see if it's been messed with and actually put on a dyno to see, really. But, you know, if it has the full exhaust by Brabus, if it has the interior by Brabus, exterior by Brabus, and it sounds a lot meaner, it's like a 70% chance that it's a real Brabus, but there's still a chance that it's not. This one, I mean, it's clean, I guess. Pretty standard spec. No Dezino exclusive interior, but it is a silver car on black, which, of course, classic timeless spec for one of these. How long has this been for sale? 51 days. So not the longest amount of time for sale. It's already gone down by $2,000. I'd say because it's only been for sale for 51 days and it has 72,000 miles, I'd be willing to go up to around 51 for this. I don't really want to pay above 51 for this, especially because it doesn't have an exclusive interior in terms of Dezino. Moving on to our next example, we have a black one with the 5-spoke wheels, non-twin spoke, just the regular 5-spoke wheels. Red brake calipers. This one has the white interior, or porcelain, or whatever you want to call it. Interesting color spec, especially with the wood. I would have really rather had a darker trim color, like piano black or carbon fiber. However, it looks all right. Just a weird color combo. But you can see here, again, it's a 2013, so not really too much to speak of when compared to what we were saying earlier. It's just this interior trim is a little bit interesting. I don't think it's the best interior trim, to be honest. It shows a lot of dirt and whatnot. They get dirty really easily when you get a car like this. Especially when you have an all black exterior, you kind of expect it to look a little bit more mean on the inside, but this looks a little bit old lady spec. You can see it also has a black bush bar. So how much they want for this? 60 grand. It has 64,000 miles. I'd say because of the trim and the interior spec, I'd be at like maybe 51.5. I really wouldn't want to pay more than 52. But 52, man, that's still a ton of money for a car that really doesn't ride that great. And it's really tiny on the inside, but it is what it is. 52 is where I'd be at for this one right here. Cool. Moving on to our next one, another 2013. This one is almost $70,000, 68 grand. Only 49,000 miles, so this is more in the desirable range. However, it's pretty much at the end of its first quote-unquote lifespan. This is when people start to dump them, and so this is exactly what's happening here. This guy probably enjoyed it for a while. How many owners? 4 owners, so he's getting the tail end of the first section, I guess. I don't know how to call it, of ownership experience. This is probably a car that has a lot of stuff that's about to go wrong. Hopefully, though, if you find one with this amount of miles in that 40 to 50,000 mile range, you find one that actually has been worked on, and so it's good to go. Those are the only ones I recommend getting. But again, it's really hard to tell on something like this. Nothing really to speak of in terms of description, so you'd have to ask the dealership themselves, what's wrong with this vehicle? Why are you getting rid of it at 49,000 miles? Because that's typically when a lot of people dump these cars because they don't want to fix them. This one, though, has the exclusive Dezino interior with the diamond stitching on the seats and the doors, so a little bit more desirable in terms of spec. You can also see that it has the black piano trim, which is also really good. As you can see, these are going to be your AMG seats. They have the bolstering. Look at the other seats. Trying to see. Give me a better view of the seats, man. Not as much bolstering on these as this. So the AMG Sport seats, they do come with the exclusive leather package. In 2016, they were available by themselves. However, 2014, we're looking at right here. Gray on black Dezino exclusive with piano black trim. This is a better spec in my opinion. The gray looks okay. I wouldn't say it looks as good as silver and black, but it still looks pretty good. 68 grand, 49,000 miles. It's been for sale for 187 days. So this car has not moved in almost half a year, over half a year. So this would be something I try to get a deal on. It's lowish miles, 49,000. Make sure that it has all the work done. If it has had all the work done, I'd be willing to go to around, I try to get it for like 61, honestly. I really wouldn't want to go above 63, but maybe 61 or 62 would be a pretty good deal for a low mile car with everything done. If it's not had really anything done, I'd probably want to stick with something, or around 55, because you are going to be spending at least 5 or 6 grand to fix all the regular things that break. That's not including if you have catastrophic failures like the turbos or whatnot, because that's 5 or 6 grand by itself. But in terms of suspension and just having a regular tune-up for one of these, no, tune-up's not really what they call it these days, because it's not as simple as that. But in terms of just fixing it to make it, a decent car in terms of the way it rides, in terms of just being mechanically sound, yeah, I'd be at 61 grand. If it hasn't had anything done, I'd be like 54, 55, simply because I just want to give a little bit of room to fix some stuff as it goes wrong. So yeah, 61 grand if it's in good mechanical shape. Did they say anything about the car? No, we already read that. Cool. All right, moving on to our next one. We have a 2014, so we're moving on in the model years. Again, this is going to be one of the first 2 model years, so I'd suggest staying away from these cars simply because they are the first iterations of the G63. They're still working out the kinks. That's usually how it goes with cars like this, or cars in general. You don't want to get the first model year, definitely not the first, sometimes not even the second. This is one of those. Don't get the second one, just get a 2015, because that's when they did some upgrades to the transmission. A lot of these early models did have transmission issues with slipping and whatnot. It is a heavy car. As you can see, this one is blue with a brown, or like I'd say like looks like a reddish brown interior. I think this is a really good color combo. I love blue on brown interior. It's very yacht spec, especially with the wood. So this is what I would consider a yacht spec car, in blue on brown. Not a Dezino exclusive car. However, it is a cool color combo. Is this red? I can't tell. It's like a red brown. I would more prefer a brown in terms of matching the wood. However, yeah, it's more of a red. I'd say this is a red. What do they have to say? Interior color, yep, Dezino Mystic Red, so it's not a brown at all. Let's see what the sticker says. Capri Blue Metallic, Dezino Mystic Red, heated steering wheel, burl walnut, Alcantara roof liner. So again, not too many options on this one. Color coordinated, this thing, wheel cover, even though they did say that was more of a 2018 thing, but I'm not sure, because I do see that here, obviously. Blue on red, interesting color spec. This is actually, I rented a Mustang last week when I was in New Orleans. It was 2024 EcoBoost Premium, and it had this exact spec, blue on red, which I thought was pretty interesting. Anyway, this one is not that bad. It has 100,000 miles though, so a ton of miles for one of these. Again, with a car like this, you want to see the maintenance records. You want to make sure that it's all good to go. But of course, it being a G-Wagon, it's never completely good to go, so you want to keep some money on the side to fix things as they go wrong. How long has it been for sale? 37 days, not too long it's been for sale. So they're probably not too keen on making, taking a loss just yet. But 54.5 is what they're asking with 99,000 miles. For me, because it's a nice spec, but it's still 100,000 mile 2014, I'd be willing to go up to $46,000 for this example. 46 grand. I do like the blue G-Wagons. I think they look pretty interesting. But the classic colors are obviously going to be silver and black. But you know me, I like crazier colors. But in terms of just resale and whatnot, silver and black is going to be the way to go. Cool. Moving on to our next one, we have another 2014. This one is going to be in all black. You can see it has a silver bush bar. You also have the bumper down there. As you can see, a lot of people do this bumper thing. When you compare it to the stock bumper, you can see that it's all like one piece pretty much. Not one piece, but it looks like it fits a lot better. But when you do this, there's always going to be that gap here, which of course I don't think looks that great, but you'll see it there. This one is black. It almost looks like, well, I can see it kind of has a red interior, but it has the Brabus lower clip, as you can see. Red calipers, black 5-spoke wheels, not the twin spokes. This one also has the carbon fiber mirrors, which is pretty cool. Interior, we have the Dezino exclusive red interior. Unfortunately, they mixed it with the burl walnut trim, which is really ridiculous to me. I don't know why they would spec it like this. It looks pretty bad. I hate red with wood. It looks horrible. It has to be a dark color, carbon fiber or black piano trim only if you have a red interior. But as I mentioned before, if you have a Dezino exclusive interior, it's really going to help the resale. A lot of people really like this diamond stitch. A lot of people really like the red. It's pretty much a classic staple G-Wagon interior. Look how much space there is in the rear seats, by the way. There is absolutely no space back here. So just keep that in mind. If you buy one of these, not really good for a family. It's pretty much a 2 or 3 seater car, if we're going to be honest. What else can I see here? Hold on. Let me look real quick at what the switch gear was on this previous example. That one is also blank. One of them was not blank. Let's see if I can find one. This one. Were they all blank? Am I tripping? Maybe they're all blank. Not too sure. Anyway, going back to our example. See that here? Black with the red interior. The only problem is it has the wood trim, which really isn't too desirable in my opinion. However, you know, that's up to you. I don't think it looks that great, to be honest. But black on red still going to be semi-desirable. People might overlook the wood trim. 55 grand is what they're asking. It has 72,000 miles. So not actually too bad for a 2014 with only 72,000 miles. Usually it's a little bit higher than this, but let's see if they say anything about the vehicle. Nothing at all, of course. How long has it been for sale? 17 days. So yeah, not for sale for too long. They price it to sell. It looks like 55 grand though for a 73,000 mile car. Black on red with the wood trim. I'd be more around the $49,000 mark for one of these. The wood trim just does not do it for me. But 49 grand, if you can get it for that, it's not a bad deal. Just make sure that, of course, being that it has 72,000 miles, it has had a lot of work done. It has had all the gaskets done. Transmission at least flushed. You don't want to get a, or not flushed, transmission fluid change. Do you want to more get a drain and fill than a flush? Flushes kind of ruin transmissions. That's typically what you see in here. You want to get a drain and fill. It costs a little bit more, but it's going to, you know, just make sure your transmission doesn't completely crap itself out. Yeah, 49 grand for this one, I think would be a solid deal. Moving on to our next example, we have a 2015 here. This one has 68,000 miles. It's in gray. We can see that here. Silver bush bar. The lights on the front, you know, they're yellowing, but that's standard. This is a gray with a porcelain interior, non-Dezino exclusive, just regular Dezino leather, as you can see, with the black piano trim. I think this looks all right. It doesn't look too bad with the black piano trim. However, I just would never get a porcelain or a white interior on a G-Wagon. It's just not, I don't think it's really befitting of the vehicle. Always dark interiors for something like this because, or red or something else, just not white. It's just going to show a lot of marks. It does look good in pictures though. It looks nice and clean when it is clean. Just keep that in mind. It's not going to hold up as well in terms of stains and whatnot, obviously, because it's a light color. As I mentioned before, they all have this Harman Kardon system. Some people say it's an option, but I've never seen one without it. 59.7 they're asking. It has 68,000 miles, 2015. So this is going to be the first model year of vehicles that I recommend getting. However, at 67,000 miles, you really want to make sure that the car has had its work done if you want to get into something like this. Just also keep in mind that when you get a vehicle with over 50,000 miles, people are not going to want to buy it back. So, yeah, unless it's for a really cheap price. 60 grand, I'd say. How long has this been for sale? 63 days. So a lot of saves in this car too, almost 130 saves. So I do believe that this is a better deal. However, for me being at almost 70,000 miles, even though it's a 2015, I'd be willing to go up to around 53,000. I don't want to really go any higher than that for a car with this many miles, especially with this trim package or not with this color way, gray on white. It's not really the best one in terms of the G-Wagon, in my opinion. Cool. All right. Moving on to our next example, we have another 2015. This one is going to be all black, as you can see, murdered out. This is how I would have my G-Wagon. Obviously, black bush bar as well. Looks pretty good. Looks how a G-Wagon should. This one also has the black piano trim as well as the exclusive Dezino seats. So you can see the AMG sport seats up front as well as the Dezino diamond stitching on the seats and the doors. Yep, blank buttons as usual. This would be something I would get personally, black on black with black wheels, triple black 66 grand, 64,000 miles. Yeah, that's a little bit too high for me. I'm not really too sure why they say that's a, yeah, I mean, 66 is way too high. Even though it's a good color spec, I do believe that these vehicles, you know, if you're going to buy one with 64,000 miles, you really shouldn't be paying this much because of things that can go wrong. I'd say because this is a good color spec, and how long has it been for sale? 9 days. So not hasn't been for sale for that long, so they're not going to really want to make a too much of a deal in terms of a discount. But for me, I really wouldn't want to pay over 58, maybe 59 for one of these. I think 60 grand is just a little bit too much for a car with 65,000 miles, especially being a 2015. 2016s and up, when the power bumps, those prices are a little bit more in tune with what this is. However, it's crazy, man, because I'm going to lowball all these cars, but there's going to be people that just have the money for these G-Wagons and they want one. They're never going to lowball these. That's why they stay up so high, is because people with money just 55 or 66 grand. What is that to someone who's a millionaire? It doesn't really matter. But again, those millionaires probably get a new G-Wagon anyway. Fake millionaires get these. Anyway, 58 grand is where I'd be at for that. Cool, moving on to our next one. This is an interesting color. We have one that's in brown. It's like a metallic brown with the twin spoke silver AMG 20-inch wheels. Interior, as you can see, or we haven't got there yet actually. Interior is going to be the brown and black two-tone Dezino exclusive interior with the matching wood trim. This is how it should be. If you're getting a wood trim, it should match the brown. I think this is a really nice colorway, especially with the brown exterior. Brown on brown is definitely going to be a I wouldn't say an acquired taste. It looks pretty good, but not a lot of people are going to want this type of vehicle. But I think it looks very classy, especially because the burl walnut actually matches the interior. This one also has the rear seat entertainment package, which is a very rare option. Not too necessary, but does add some value in terms of its factory value. We can see because it's a Dezino car, it has the leather stitching on the top and bottom of the dash. You can see that there. Or Dezino exclusive car, excuse me. But in terms of everything else, pretty much standard. I really like this brown. Brown on brown, in my opinion, looks pretty cool. How much do they want for this? 70 grand, 68.9 for this car, and a 68.9, almost 68.9 in terms of mileage. So very expensive example here. They're trying to price it high because of the color combination. It is a pretty rare color combo when compared to most of the G-Wagons on the road. And that could work in your to your favor, you know, if you find the right buyer. However, it's going to be harder to sell these, obviously. How long has this one been for sale? 22 days, so not that long. I'd say because of this rare color combo and because it has, because it has 68,000 miles, I really wouldn't want to pay 70 grand for it. I know it has a cool color combo. I'd be willing to go up to 62.5 for something like this. 62.5 would be a pretty good deal. And again, if you get something like this, you really want to make sure that it has had work done, at least had the turbos replaced. To be honest, like 50,000 miles, you get a whole bunch of turbo problems. And if it's made it to 70,000 without those turbo problems, you're definitely going to be running into them sometime in your ownership. So try to look for one with the turbos already done. Buy a reputable dealer, of course, a reputable shop. You don't want to be running into issues with that because it is super expensive. $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to get your turbos redone. Yeah, it's not a good day. Cool. This one looks really nice though. I like it. 63, 62. I don't know what I said. 60. We'll go up to 63. 63 grand for this. And yeah, high miles though. Just keep that in mind with these vehicles. The more we get into the newer years, the less the mileage will be, but also the higher the price will be. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Nose always starts to itch during this part of the show. I don't know what it is. Anyway, another 2015 here. This one is in white. White looks good on these G-Wagons. This one is kind of, you know, it has the Dezino interior, the porcelain Dezino. I think this is called porcelain, but a white Dezino interior exclusive. So it has that going for it and kind of matches the white on the outside. So I wouldn't say that it is the best color combo, but it does match at least. So it looks a little bit better. Black piano trim as well. This looks good. It looks better, excuse me, without the wood when you have this type of black and white two-tone. If you have the wood, it makes a weird tri-tone interior. Not really a fan. So I think this looks pretty good in terms of just overall aesthetics. I just don't like lighter color seats simply because they stain easier and you'll see creases and whatnot easier on lighter color seats. But this one actually looks pretty good, especially having a white exterior. Scrolling through, what else can I see here? Has the black single piece, not a single piece, it has the black 5 single spoke wheels. So it's basically just the twin spoke with a solid center. White looks pretty good on this car. Not going to say it doesn't. Nice stock front end, silver bush bar, black wheels, Stormtrooper spec here. 75 grand for this one. 45,000 miles. As you can see, when you get into these higher model years, they start to go up in price very fast. 76 grand, 45,000 miles. This is one of those cars where you really have to be careful, because this is that sweet spot where people dump the car because they don't want to mess with it, or they're starting to run into those problems. So just make sure that if you get a car between 40 and 50,000 miles, you really, really, really want to get that PPI by someone you really trust, and you know, make your decision from there. I'd say though this is way too expensive for me. 45,000 miles. I'd be more around the I'd be around 70 grand. I'd say 70 grand would be pretty fair for a 70 or 45,000 mile 2015 model. How long has this one been for sale? 45 days, so a good amount of days. You know, what is that, a month and a half? About halfway there to when they really will start slashing prices. Already went down by 4 grand. I think they can go down another 6 grand. 70 grand is where I'd be at for a 45,000 mile 2015. Cool. Moving on to our next one. We have a 2016. So this is going to be the model year where it gets a bump in power. It goes from 530 around to 560 around, somewhere around there. So 30 horsepower bump. You also have a 1 pound-foot of torque bump as well. This one is in Magno black, very, very desirable color as well. So these Magnos, these flat or satin paint jobs are going to be way more desirable than the other ones. People love them. They look very modern. You can see this one has the bush bar delete. Very easy to do. All you got to do is just buy these covers. It's like $300. Interior is going to be the black exclusive Dezino interior, which is also highly desirable. This is just a very good spec here. $69,000, $70,000. I wonder how many miles this has, because it's a good amount of spec for the price. Probably has a lot of miles. Yep, 71,000 miles, which is a lot. I'd say because this is a 2016, it can command that higher price because it does have that power bump. It's kind of the, you know, the last, well, it's getting into the last iterations of the first gen G63. I'd say though 70,000 is a little bit too much for having 71,000 miles. I'd be more around the 66, maybe $65,000 mark. If you can get a $65,000 Magno with exclusive interior vehicle, black on black, I think that would be a really good deal. 65 would be, you know, not that bad. You just, of course, you have to make sure that with this amount of miles that it is solid mechanically. With these cars, the repairs can get expensive very quickly. And if you have a car that's kind of on its last legs and they're just trying to get rid of it, you're going to be stuck holding the bag, which is never a good thing. It's been for sale for 166 days and the price has not changed. So, you know, I don't even think this person wants to sell their car. I say for me, I'd said 66. At that, the fact that it's been for sale for so long, I have to lower my price. I'd be at 64, maybe 65. 64 grand for one of these, I think, would be a solid deal. Cool. All right, moving on to our next example. This is going to be an AMG Performance Studio car. As you can see, it has the yellow paint with the black roof, as well as the black wheels and black fender flares. So very, very exclusive paint, or very exclusive package, the AMG Performance Studio. It's very hard to find these. They're pretty rare. You can see it has the color matching stitching on the interior, as well as having the Dezino exclusive interior diamond stitching on the seats, as well as the doors. So very well optioned in terms of its spec. You can also see black piano trim. Gauge cluster. Yep, you can see the same blank switches. This car will probably fetch a little bit of a higher price, 77 grand. It has 60,000 miles. Yep, as you can see, high miles, but also high price simply because it has this Performance Studio package. I don't know if a lot of people really want this. However, it does command a big premium. 77 grand for 60,000 mile 2016. I'd say for me though, 77 is a little bit high. I get it. It's an AMG Performance Studio package car. I'd be around the $70,000 mark. Maybe 69. I try to get it for 69, 420. But 70,000 is probably a little bit more realistic. That's a little bit better sounding number. 70 grand. How long is this? 91 days. It's already went down by 8 grand. So as you can see, they try to price it high because of the Performance Studio package. I'd try to get it for 69 grand. They can go down another 7 grand. Yeah, they don't even know it has the Performance Studio package. They just see the exclusive leather. Yeah, so I try to get it for a little bit cheaper because it doesn't seem like they know exactly what this is. Cool. Moving on to our next example. We have a 2016. Again, this one is going to be lower miles and a lower price than the last one because it is a standard package car, even though it does have the Xeno black paint. So it is still a viable option in terms of getting, you know, a higher spec vehicle. Let's see what the interior looks like. It also has a Xeno exclusive interior. So you get the leather on the dash, bottom of the dash, the diamond stitch seats, as well as the diamond stitch door panel. So pretty good options here in terms of being triple black. You have Magno. You also have the Xeno exclusive. You have the black wheels as well. Not a bad example, to be honest, especially being a 2016, but the power bump. 44,000 miles. So again, in that sweet spot of mileage, you really want to make sure that this car is good to go, because this is, again, in that range where the cars do get dumped because they don't want to be fixed. So keep that in mind, especially for lower price ones like this one. You really want to be careful. 78 grand. I'd say for me, being that this is a 44,000 mile Magno with the Xeno exclusive, I'd be willing to go up to around 70 grand. Yeah, I'd say compared to this last one, I know I said the same price, but it has 20,000 miles less, or 15,000 miles less. So yeah, 70 grand I think would be a fair price for a Magno with triple black in terms of black wheels and black Xeno exclusive interior. 70 grand. This one's been for sale for 41 days, already went down by 6 grand. Yeah, they can go down by another 8 grand. They can do it. Anyway, moving on. We have our, well, another 2016. This one is in blue, as you can see. Grilled Elite. It has these silver wheels with some bigger tires. I do like the G-Wagons with these bigger tires. You often see the G63s with smaller, like, road-going tires, but when you put some, like, grappler off-roader tires on it, it looks really good in my opinion. This one, in blue. Blue looks pretty good. We'll see the interior. Only 38,000 miles. They want 82 grand almost for it. Again, low mile vehicle, so they can kind of command that kind of price. We can see it has a Xeno exclusive, blue on black and white. Let's see what the trim is. Piano black. Yeah, this is a good spec. Looks good in terms of colors. Again, I don't really recommend getting a light color interior for one of these, but it is what it is. You probably won't be getting that dirty anyway getting into one of these. If we're going to really be honest, you're not taking this off-roading. It's a low mile G63. You're not taking this off-roading. Stock bumper. Let's see the window stick. Oh, I can't read that at all. The Xeno exclusive leather package. Rear seat entertainment. Oh yeah, it has the TVs as well, so that adds a good amount of price to the, you know, the price, because it is factory options. Gosh, my nose. Anyway, 38 grand or 38,500 miles it has, and they want 82 grand for it. I'd say for me though, yeah, it's low miles. It has a good spec in terms of having all the options. The white seats, they're okay, but you know, they look pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, they look pretty good. 82 grand though is way too much. I'd say being at 38,000 miles, under 40,000 miles, I'd be more around the $75,000 mark. I think 75 grand for an under 40,000 mile G-Wagon is a pretty good deal, and you can always sell it for that price, or maybe a little bit more when you know, 10,000 miles down the road. But yeah, at 82 grand, you're not really going to be making anything if you turn around and sell it with a little bit more miles. Cool. Moving on to our next example, we have another performance studio car. As you can see, this one is in blue with the black fender flares. Looks pretty good in my opinion. This brighter blue, or more like a more richer blue. It's not as this other blue is kind of dull compared to this blue. Looks pretty good. Carbon fiber wheel surround. You also have the carbon fiber. What is this? Sorry, my nose is really itchy today, man. Oh, I think I cut the inside of it, to be honest. Anyway, looking at the seats, we do have the Xeno exclusive interior. We also have this DVD player, which is not stock. Looks pretty awful, actually. Not really a big fan of that, but it is what it is. Carbon fiber trim on this one. One of the first examples we saw with carbon fiber trim. I love the carbon fiber trim on these. Again, this is a performance studio car, so it does have that going for it. Black exclusive, the Xeno interior. Harman Kardon, of course, with the carbon fiber trim. This is a pretty good spec right here. $84,000, and it has 42,000 miles. Yeah, that's getting a little bit expensive for having over 40,000 miles. I get it. It's a performance studio vehicle. However, yeah, I'd say for having 42,000 miles, I'd be more around the $77,000 mark. It's not too far off. Maybe 76, 77. I wouldn't really want to pay over 80 for a 2016 with over 40,000 miles. How long has this one been for sale? 66 days, only 7 saves. Price already went down by 9. Yeah, they can go down to around 77. They can do it. I believe in them. Anyway, odometer is at 11th. What? Below. Oh, See, this is not even the right transmission. It's not the 7G Tronic. It's a 7-speed MCT speed shift. Mystic Blue. Yeah. Again, these it's actually kind of hard to find information on the G-Wagon, so I don't blame them for not having the correct info. A lot of people don't understand the differences between these G-Wagons, and when you're trying to do some research, it's really hard to find it. I guess a lot of people, I think what it is with these cars, the mileage is so low that a lot of people don't really report too many issues. And everyone who buys one of these isn't really concerned with the issues because they can afford it. So I'm not really going to talk about it too much on forums. Most of the issues are going to come from the M157 and from the transmission. But yeah, carbon fiber trim, I'd say 77 is where I'd be at for this one. Cool. Moving on to our next one. We have a 2016. Again, this one is Magno Silver. So again, flat silver. The Magno colors are always going to be in high demand. We can see this one, looks pretty stock. You have the silver bush bar still in place. Interior is going to be the exclusive Dezino in red. So the two-tone exclusive Dezino red with the piano black trim. So this is how a red interior should be. You shouldn't have the light woods. You shouldn't have anything besides piano and carbon if you have a red and black interior. So this one is actually pretty good in terms of spec, especially with the gray or the silver Dezino exterior. There's your engine right there. As you can tell, this car is very narrow. The engine barely fits in there. What else can I say about this? I mean, it's a good spec. Honestly, it's a good spec. 87.5, they're asking. Holy crap. 35,000 miles. I get it. It's a really good spec. But almost 90 grand for a 36,000 mile 2016 we're getting kind of insane. But, the prices for these are insane. Oh, man. I'd say for this, having 35,000 miles, I'd be willing to go up to 80 grand. I think 80 grand, given the fact that it has a really, really good spec, would be a pretty good deal. It's been for sale for 15 days, so not too much in terms of length and duration. They probably aren't willing to do much negotiating as of right now. But, it is for sale for a little bit longer. I'd try to get it for around $80,000. Moving on to our next example, we have another Performance Studio car. This one has 33,000 miles, and they want 109 grand for it. Insane. I don't know what they're smoking on. How long has this been for sale? 811 days. How many years is that? 811 days and years. It's been for sale for 2.2 years, which is pretty insane. 2.2 years. This car's been for sale at 108 grand. This are pandemic prices right here. This is probably one of those things where the ad is still up, but it's, there's either not for sale anymore or I don't know what's going on, but we'll take a look at it. AMG Performance Studio car. We have the orange, black roof, black fender flares. Interior is going to have the matching stitching. Black interior, of course, is going to have the Dezino exclusive leather with the diamond stitched, seats, as well as the door panels, also having the carbon fiber trim. So fully loaded, as it should be for being an AMG Performance Studio car. See there, carbon fiber trim. You have the stitching even on the shift boot or the handbrake boot, as well as the handle. You also have the what looks like the AMG Performance wheel. Let's take a look at this last one. Yeah, this one did not have the AMG Performance wheel. This one does. You can see the thumb bolsters as well as the silver trim on the bottom. But this is still a 2016. They didn't upgrade the whole interior. Well, upgrade. It's very small facelift until 2017. So this is still a 2016 car. I'd say for me, having 33,000 miles, I'd be willing to go up to 82 for this. 108 is just 108 or 109 is just way, way too high for this car. But it is a nice example. The orange is definitely really cool, especially the mileage being low. 82 grand is where I'd be at. Moving on to our next one, we have our first 2017. So it's going to be the final iteration of the first generation G-Wagon. You'll see on the interior, it's going to have a little bit of a facelift on the interior, not too much. This one does have the Magno black paint, so desirable off the bat right there. Yellow brake calipers, I'm not sure what that means. Yeah, they're not carbon ceramics or anything. Interior, we do have the exclusive Dezino leather package, so the diamond stitching, of course, and carbon fiber trim, so very, very good interior package. We also have the performance steering wheel. See that here. You can also see the facelifted center console with the flat buttons as opposed to the round buttons. Looks pretty much the same, just a little bit more modernized, not too much of a difference. This one also has some TVs, but yeah, they are not the stock TVs, so we're not going to take that into consideration. What else can I say about this? Carbon fiber, exclusive interior, Magno paint, pretty good spec. 50,000 miles, and it is 2017, so the prices are going to be a little bit higher than the rest of them, but 84.2 is just way too high for me. I'd say for having 50,000 miles and being in 2017, I'd be around the 80, or actually I try to get it around 78 grand. 78, 77, or 78, 79 grand is where I'd be at for this. How long has it been for sale? 9 days, so not that long at all. Yep, has upgraded command system. But yeah, other than that, I'd be at 79 grand. See some wear on the door panel here too. I'm not sure what that's about. But yeah, 79 for this 2017 because it has 50,000 miles. Moving on to our next example, we have a blue example here with the original silver bush bar on the black AMG. It looks like the black AMG twin spoke wheels. I really like the way this looks, honestly. This looks pretty good. This one also has the Dezino regular interior, but in brown. Even though it's not an exclusive interior, I do love a blue and brown color combo, especially with piano black. Usually I like to have a wood, but they don't really offer like a dark wood with this car. It's more of a light wood, so this black will do. I think it looks pretty good, especially with the blue and brown. It's just one of my favorite color combos. Shout out to my old E9335 that was a Monaco blue on Terra brown interior, 6-speed with the aluminum trim single hump. That was the best spec. I miss that car. But, you know, it was a 335 and 54. It was a piece of junk. Anyway, this one, as you can see, old school ruffling on the door panels for the leather because it is a non-exclusive package. But it doesn't look too bad, honestly. This actually is a really good example. $90,000, 42,000 miles. I'd say, though, because it's not an exclusive car or exclusive package interior, 90,000 is just way too much for having 42,000 miles. I'd say because it is blue on brown, though, that does add a little bit. But I'd be more around the $82,000 mark for this. 82 grand for this 2017. Hey, shout out to the 7 people in the chat that's been sticking with me for this hour, almost an hour and a half. 10 likes already. Shout out to y'all, man. Let's try to get to 15 likes. I mean, I'm happy with 10, honestly, but let's look at the 15 likes, y'all. 15 likes. Hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel. I do these types of videos every weekday. We go over every single different car in extreme detail, autistic detail. And so, yeah, stay tuned for more vehicles to come. What else can I say about this? I mean, yeah, 82 grand. I really like the spec on this. I don't really even care that it's not an exclusive leather package. The blue on brown just looks really, really good. Cool. All right, moving on to our next one. We have a 2017. This one has only 30,000 miles, and they want almost 100 grand, $99,000. It is a jade green car, so it's very, very rare to find a green G-Wagon, especially with this color combo with the light tan interior, especially it being an exclusive light tan interior, two-tone. Looks really good. Let's see what the trim is, though. It has the light satin trim. Is this that? No, that has, never mind. That has, I was going to say it's the Mojave this exclusive, or Mojave Dezino manufacturer package. What's that called, man? It's called the Dezino manufacturer Mojave package. Yeah, I was right. But yeah, this is actually a really, really cool color combo. We have the light tan matching the light satin wood. This isn't the glossy wood. This is a satin wood, which actually looks really cool in my opinion. You rarely ever see this. Very, very nice spec here. Very, very cool. Especially with this green, this jade green. You also have the performance steering wheel. Yeah, this is one of the best specs I've seen so far. And being low miles, now they know what they have. It was at 109 before. Now it's at 99. I'd say at 30,000 miles, being that it's been for sale for 109 days. I try to get this around 88 grand, maybe 89, but I don't know, man. This one definitely will command a premium because it is such a cool spec. Green on tan with the satin interior trim. Yeah, I'd say 89 grand is where I'd be at, but I wouldn't be surprised if it sold for a little bit more than that. Very cool spec right here. Cool. Moving on to our next one, we have our red example. This one is actually the thumbnail. I love a red G-Wagon, especially the new ones. The new ones in red look really, really good, but this is an old one. Still looks good. 34,000 miles. It's black interior with, it looks like, I'm trying to see, the roof is red, so it's not an AMG Performance Pack or AMG Performance Studio package, but it does have color contrast or color matching stitching, which is pretty cool. You also have the AMG Performance Wheel, exclusive black Dezino interior. You also have a black bush bar with the black 5 twin spoke wheels. Yeah, this red G-Wagon just looks so, so good. Tinted lights, everything looks all right. Nothing too crazy. This one is low miles, only 34,000 miles. Carbon fiber trim. Thought it was black trim. Carbon fiber trim. Yeah, this is the top spec right here, in my opinion. 93 grand, 34,000 miles. They're not too far off, man. I'd say for being at this spec at 34,000 miles, being a 2018 last model year G-Wagon, I'd be around the $88,000 mark. I mean, like, yeah, 88 grand. We can make that happen for 88 grand. That would be a really, really good deal, especially having less than 40,000 miles. Just keep in mind, you're probably going to run into that issue where you're going to have a lot of problems in the next 10,000 miles. So you want to get rid of it before then. But if you can get it for 88 grand, I highly doubt that you'll lose money on a vehicle like this. This one looks really cool. You know, it's metallic red on black. Might be a little bit of an acquired taste. People might not like it. It might be a little bit too flashy, but I think it looks so good. $88,000. Moving on to our second to last ad, we have a white example. Again, 2018, 31,000 miles. They want 96.3 for it. This one is white. Let's see what the interior package looks like. Interior, we have the black standard leather, so nothing fancy in terms of the interior. We do have color matching stitching though, which is kind of cool. We have the single piece, or the single, or not single, but 5-spoke wheels, not the 5 twin spokes, but the 5-spoke wheels in black. White car, Stormtrooper spec, as you can see. No bush bar. They did the bush bar delete. Not too many options on this one, actually, in terms of pretty standard. It has the performance steering wheel, it looks like. Yep. But not a diamond stitch interior. 96.2 is what they're asking, 31,000 miles. I'd say for me, being that this doesn't have the exclusive interior package, but it has 31,000 miles, I'd be at around 90 grand. $90,000 would be a fair price for a low mile last model year G-Wagon. Granted, it doesn't have the diamond stitching. Cool. And let's move on to our last ad. We have a 2018. This one is a little bit cheaper. I should have put this, actually, this is not in order. This should have been one of the first 2018s. But anyway, 77 grand in terms of price, and it has 60,000 miles. This one is in orange with a black Dizino exclusive interior with the AMG performance wheel. See the trim. Carbon fiber trim, so good spec here. Orange on black with the carbon fiber trim. You really can't go wrong with this spec, especially with the Dizino exclusive leather interior. Carbon fiber. Yeah, this looks good. I love this center console in carbon fiber. This is probably one of the best trim pieces where it meets around the HVAC controls. Oh no, it's not all black. It's a brown and black Dizino exclusive leather interior. So pretty cool, actually. A little bit more unique than the all black one. 60,000 miles though, $77,000. Yeah, this one would be something. I get it, it's the last model year, so you're probably going to run into a little bit less issues than if you get like a 2013 to 2016. But this is a little bit still too expensive for having 60,000 miles, just a little bit. I'd say I'd be more around the $73,000 to $74,000 range for this one. And again, with a car like this, you really want to make sure you get a PPI. 60,000 miles doesn't seem like a lot, but for some reason on these G-Wagons, it is a lot. And so not only will you run into problems, but in terms of resale, these are kind of hard to sell when they get over 40, 50,000 miles. So you got to keep that in mind. That's why you want to get the best deal up front. You really don't want to be stuck holding this car because, yeah, it's just going to be a pain. You got a lot of money tied up into it. It's not really the best driving experience. It's something you own for like 6 months to a year maybe, and then you move on. You got the experience out of out of your way. You're done with it. You know, there's so much other cars you can get for 76 grand. Just get a BMW X7. It's going to be so much better. And that's just one of them. There's so many different ones you can get for this price that are just a whole lot better, and are just a lot better to live with as well. Let's look at Car Gurus, or no, Cars and Bids, because I want to see what G63s have gone for in the past. So we can see this one, 35,000 miles, 63 grand for a 2016. Yep, I wasn't too far off. We can see this one is a Magno with the red interior trim. What's it going to be? Black piano trim. So this is actually a pretty good spec right here. 35,000 miles, low amount of miles, and they sold for 63 grand. So don't be afraid of these high prices, y'all. These are still trading not that expensive. People are just going to, of course, put a high price online so they can get as much as they can. But in terms of actual numbers, you can see this one sold for 63.5 and has only 35,000 miles. And it's a 2016, meaning it has the power upgrade. Let's see any other examples. 2013 first model year, low miles. What did this sell for? 65. So yeah, if you have one with 17,000 miles, of course it's going to be worth a little bit more. People just don't drive these, and I mean, I know why. It's because they suck. You know, it's like if you're driving this around town, it's just a horrible experience compared to just any other car. And yeah, that's why you see a lot of these with low miles, to be honest. White with the red interior, but it's not Dezino exclusive, but it's still red and has black piano trim, so a good spec here as well. Let's see what else we can see. 2017, this one has the upgraded power Magno with the black and red exclusive interior. How about the trim? Piano black trim, non-performance wheel. 54 grand. How many miles does this one have? 72,000. So as you can see, this one being a 2017, sold for 54,000. We were quoting in the 70s, but this one has high miles, but at least in the 60s, you can get them for cheap, yo. Like, I was giving you higher prices than these, so don't be afraid to lowball these dealers with these G-Wagons. They're not worth as much as people say they're worth. It's just all a status symbol, and people artificially keep the prices high so they can feel good about the bad purchase they made, honestly. Yeah, this one, 54 grand. So this is like 2013, 2014, 2015 prices. Mileage is, you know, it's getting up there, but it's still only 72,000 miles. Like, let's not be too crazy here. What else can I see? How about a 2014? $50,000. 110. Oh yeah, this is a little bit too high for my comfort level, but again, $50,000 for a, this is actually a little bit too high they paid for, honestly. It has 110,000 miles and it's a 2014 first couple model years. Yeah, they overpaid for this. I don't know how many bids were on this one, but they were going crazy. What else? Here we have a AMG Performance Studio. It's 56 grand. 67,000 miles, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty regular for this amount of miles, 56,000, but it is a Performance Studio car, so those are always going to go for a higher premium. But as you can see, these cars realistically will go around the $60,000 to $70,000 range for a good one. So don't be afraid to lowball these guys, especially because a lot of these cars have been sitting on lots for a long time. They bought them way too high when the prices were going crazy for the newer G-Wagons, so they figured that, you know, these older G-Wagons are going to go up as well, but no, I wouldn't say so. 62 grand for this 2014. This one is cool, has a more utilitarian look, bigger tires, 70,000 miles, yeah. I mean, this was a while ago. I mean, not a while ago, but last year. But as you can see, with recent prices, this 2017 sold for 54, and this 2016 sold for 63. So the prices are I'd say they're going down. Cool. So let's recap. I'd recommend getting a 2017 Plus if you're going to get one of these. If you're going to spend the money, just get a 2017 Plus. It's going to be the easiest to live with because it has the most, it's going to be the most updated interior. It's going to have the best command system. It's also going to be the easiest to get rid of when you're tired of it, because you will get tired of it after a while. 2013 and 2014, if you want to get one of those model years, be sure to get one at a crazy good deal, because otherwise you're going to be kind of stuck with it for a while. No one wants these. 2015 to 2016. 2016 is when the power bump got upgraded, or when the car received the power upgrade or power bump. So 2016 would probably be the earliest model year I would get, but it doesn't have the updated interior yet. So if you want to get kind of an old school interior, but with the power bump, get a 2015 or 2016. If you want to get one that has the upgraded transmission, but not the power bump, get a 2015. In terms of individual options, I highly suggest getting one with the Dezino exclusive leather package, the diamond stitching package. AMG Performance Studio packages look cool, but they're always going to command a premium. If you want to get a more flashy G-Wagon, go that route, because they do come with some exclusive options in terms of the color match stitching. They're also going to be fully loaded in terms of the interior packages. They're going to have carbon fiber or black trim. The night package is basically what the Performance Studio package is, but without the crazy colors. And in terms of interior options, individual ones, definitely recommend getting the performance wheel if you get a later model year car. The Dezino Magno paint is also a highly recommended option, because that just, you know, it adds to just the G-Wagonness of the car. It just adds to your, you know, experience with the vehicle. People will like it more, basically. Yeah. But in terms of the wheels, you can either get these black ones you can either get the solid 5-spoke wheels or the 5 twin-spoke wheels. They both look good to me. They both look very similar, so it doesn't really matter. And just try to get as much leather as possible. So again, get the exclusive leather package. You want to really make sure you get a PPI to take care of these M157 and transmission issues. You don't want to have anything go wrong with motor mounts, turbo failures, cam solenoids, timing chain issues. They're all going to be super, super expensive to fix and really not worth the vehicle if you find one with these problems, unless you get a stupid deal on it. Transmission, same thing. You want to make sure that the car shifts well. You want to make sure that it doesn't slip. It does kind of slip from 1,000, 2,000 RPM. Sometimes, you know, because the transmissions, they take a while to completely break. So a lot of them are kind of like half broken, if that makes sense. So they do slip a little bit. So it's not the worst thing in the world. However, it's only going to get worse as time goes on. In terms of the vehicle, just don't have high expectations on the interior build quality. A lot of people think they're spending so much money, the expectations are really high. It's going to be a lot of rattling. It's going to be a lot of parts that are tacked on there. They don't look the best in terms of their ergonomics or their integration with the vehicle. Again, this vehicle is old, you know. You want to make sure that you're aware of that before you test drive a lot of them before you buy one, basically. And then if you still like it after that, then go look for one to buy. But test drive them first. You don't want to buy the first one you get because you're going to be very disappointed probably. Flat glass. So yeah, just keep in mind these glass, the windshield at least cracks a lot. So just try to find one without any cracks, I guess. And then the sunroof. Make sure that the sunroof drains are open or not clogged. You don't want to have any water ingressing in the car because, as I mentioned, there's literally like computers and modules just placed everywhere in the vehicle wherever they could fit them. And some of them aren't the best or aren't protected the best. And water can cause a lot of issues. And you really don't want to have that because that's going to be just a huge, huge pain in the butt trying to locate those types of issues. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Shout out to everyone who stayed this long. Shout out to the people in the chat. You guys, you know, keep me going in terms of keeping up with this amount of work because it does take a lot of work to do these videos. It takes a lot of research, takes a lot of time. So I appreciate you guys. If you're in the chat, let me know what car you want me to do tomorrow. I have some options here. Let me read off some of the options I'm thinking of. Let's see. I was thinking of doing the BMW M2, the first generation M2. That could be one. I could also do the 918 Cayman. I believe that's what it's called. Or I can do a 2009-ish Cayman. I forget what model designation that is, but an older Cayman. I have a bunch here. I don't know if you guys can see, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of cars that I haven't done. I was also thinking maybe the Lotus Elise, because I've seen those online for stupid cheap prices, which is pretty crazy. Like I've seen them in the teens, like 15 grand for an Elise. Like can't go wrong with that. Even if it is a rebuild title, it's like not really that much of a car anyway. It's more of a go-kart. So, I mean, you're not really missing out on too much, especially for 15 grand. What else, man? There's so many here. Audi RS7 is also a car I want to get done at some point because I haven't done the RS7 surprisingly. Yeah, you guys let me know. And if you don't want to let me know, that's cool. I'll pick one of these. Oh, the Alpina B6 is also a good one. I love that car. Yeah, I think we got some good options there. At some point, I want to do the Ghibli because the Maserati Ghibli is one of the most hated cars. But I think that if you find one that's sorted and not owned by a drug dealer or a child, they are actually pretty good value for the money. You just have to find one that's been serviced. You know, it's people run those things into the ground. Yeah, well, that's also a car that I'd like to go over just because I think it's hilarious how cheap they've gotten, even though they're not too bad, but bad examples are bad, you know. But yeah, you guys are quiet today. Shout out to you guys for tuning in. I know it's been a week since I last made my video, but appreciate the support. Tomorrow I'm gonna do the giveaway again, $50. If you want to win 50 bucks, join my Discord. All you gotta do is hit the link in the description. Oh, now King says what's up. Too late, man. That was yesterday at 2:41. This was in 24 hours a week ago, so apologies to you. Sorry, not sorry actually. But yeah, King, you lost out on that one. You should have said something last week. That wraps it up for today. Thank you guys again. Like the video if you haven't already. Let's get to 15 likes on this video. Shout out to everyone who made it this far. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow with the whatever car I pick. So it's a surprise. You'll see the thumbnail when you see it. And yeah, always peace Have a good one. See you guys